In the year 1300, farmers across Europe carried the fate of entire communities in their hands. With nothing but oxen, wooden plows, and ancient rhythms of the soil, they fed kingdoms through famine, war, and plague. Centuries later, Amish farmers in America echo those same methods, choosing simplicity over machines, endurance over speed. What connects a medieval villager in 1300 to an Amish plowman today, and why does their forgotten wisdom matter more than ever in our fragile modern world? The answer begins in the furrows of history. In the year 1300, Europe was a continent of survival. Villages clung to the soil, their lives dictated by the rhythm of the seasons. A single failed harvest could mean hunger, disease, or death. Famine was not an exception, it was a shadow that returned again and again. The Black Death would soon sweep across the land, but even before plague, the farmer's greatest enemy was scarcity. Grain was the lifeblood. Wheat, rye, and barley filled ovens, fed armies, and sustained kingdoms. Without bread, society collapsed. Tools were crude, yet ingenious. Heavy plows carved deep into stubborn clay, oxen strained against harnesses, and hands blistered from endless labor. Fields were divided into strips, rotated to preserve fertility, and worked communally. Survival was not individual, it was collective. Neighbors sowed together, harvested together, and endured together. Centuries later, across the Atlantic, Amish farmers would choose to preserve this same rhythm. Where the medieval peasant was bound by necessity, the Amish are bound by conviction. Their horse-drawn plows, communal barns, and reliance on faith echo the very heartbeat of the 1300s. In their fields, the past is not a relic, it is alive, reminding us that endurance, not machinery, is what truly feeds communities. Today, in an age of abundance, modern gardeners and farmers face a paradox. Shelves overflow, yet the soil beneath our feet is weaker than ever. The very foundation of food, earth, seed, and season has been compromised by speed, chemicals, and dependency.
For the home gardener, the struggle begins with soil. Centuries of industrial farming have stripped nutrients, leaving ground that resists fertility. Compost is replaced by synthetic fertilizers, quick fixes that mask deeper exhaustion. Pests arrive in swarms, immune to sprays that once controlled them. Each season demands more chemicals, more interventions, more expense. The garden becomes a battlefield, not a sanctuary. Dependency is the hidden trap. Seeds are purchased from corporations, often sterile hybrids that cannot be saved for the next year. Tools are manufactured for convenience, but break without repair. Even water, once drawn from wells or streams, is rationed through municipal systems vulnerable to drought. The gardener, once sovereign, is now a consumer, dependent on supply chains that falter with every crisis. Contrast this with the medieval farmer. His soil was not perfect, but it was alive. Fertility was preserved through rotation, manure, and patience. Pests were endured, not annihilated, balanced by diversity of crops and natural predators. Seeds were saved, exchanged, and treasured as inheritance. The system was fragile, yes, but it was resilient because it was rooted in continuity. The Amish echo this resilience. Their soil is nourished by compost and animal manure, not chemicals. Their seeds are heirlooms, passed through generations, immune to corporate patents. Their tools are simple, but repairable. Their water comes from wells, their food from fields, their security from community. Where modern systems collapse under pressure, Amish barns remain full. Modern agriculture, for all its machines, is brittle. It depends on fuel, chemicals, and global trade. A single disruption, a drought, a war, a pandemic, ripples across shelves and empties pantries. The medieval farmer knew hunger, but he also knew how to endure. The Amish farmer knows the same. So when modern gardeners struggle with soil that will not yield, pests that will not die, and systems that cannot sustain, the lesson is clear. Technology without wisdom is weakness. The old ways remind us that survival is not about speed, but about balance, and balance is what modern systems have lost. The problem is not that we lack abundance, it is that abundance has blinded us to fragility. The medieval farmer, the Amish plowman, and the gardener who struggles today are bound by the same truth. The soil decides, not the machine, and unless we remember that, the harvest will fail. By the year 1300, survival depended on a handful of ingenious methods, simple yet powerful enough to feed entire communities.
1. Crop rotation. Fields were divided into strips, rotated between grain, legumes, and fallow. This cycle restored fertility naturally. Manure and rest gave soil strength, ensuring harvests year after year. Today, gardeners who rotate crops still break pest cycles and keep soil alive without chemicals. 2. Communal labor. Planting and harvest were collective rituals. Neighbors worked side by side, sharing tools and sweat. This unity meant no family starved alone. The Amish mirror this with barn raisings and shared harvests, proof that community is itself a survival tool. 3. Seed saving. Every harvest ended with careful selection of the strongest seeds. These were dried, stored, and passed down as inheritance. It guaranteed resilience against famine. Modern gardeners who save heirloom seeds continue this chain, preserving diversity against fragile hybrids. 4. Natural fertility. Oxen manure, composted straw, and kitchen scraps fed the soil. Nothing was wasted. This closed loop kept fertility cycling. Today, compost bins echo the medieval pile, turning waste into abundance. These methods were not luxuries. They were lifelines. And centuries later, the Amish still walk the same furrows, proving that what worked in 1300 still works today. Walk into an Amish field today, and you'll see echoes of the 1300s. Horses pull steel plows across rich soil, manure is spread to renew fertility, and families work side by side during planting and harvest. Seeds are carefully saved, often heirlooms passed through generations, ensuring resilience against fragile hybrids. Food is preserved in jars, stored in cool cellars, and shared within the community. These practices are not nostalgia. They are practical systems that keep the Amish independent from fragile supply chains. In their barns, the medieval rhythm of survival continues, steady and enduring. Medieval systems were designed with one purpose: survival. Every method, from crop rotation to seed saving, was a safeguard against hunger. The Amish continue this mindset, treating farming not as profit, but as endurance. Modern systems, by contrast, chase speed and efficiency, measuring success in yield and dollars rather than resilience. Yet when shelves empty, speed cannot feed us. What we can learn is simple. Survival requires patience, foresight, and community. To think like a medieval farmer or an Amish plowman is to remember that food is not a commodity first, but a lifeline. To bring medieval resilience into your own garden, start small. First, rotate your crops. Plant legumes after grains to restore soil naturally. Second, save seeds from your strongest plants. They carry resilience into the next season. Third, compost kitchen scraps and garden waste to feed the soil without chemicals. Fourth, diversify. Grow more than one staple so pests or drought cannot wipe out everything. Finally, share knowledge and surplus with neighbors. These simple steps, rooted in centuries of practice, transform a fragile garden into a system built for endurance. In 1300, farmers fed entire communities with patience, foresight, and unity. Centuries later, the Amish still walk those same furrows, proving that survival is not about machines, it is about memory. If we forget these old rhythms, we risk repeating the hunger they once endured. But if we remember, if we carry their wisdom into our own soil, then every seed becomes more than food. It becomes security. The medieval farmer's hand, the Amish plowman's step, and your garden today are bound by the same truth. Endurance feeds nations, and memory keeps us alive.